This is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS show with John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook live show. We got 8 games on today's main slate here, Grande. Pretty good one. Keith on the Playbook. That's live for all of you guys out there over at Fantasy Alarm. Check that out in the Discord. It's published, posted over at Fantasy Alarm as well. You and I did the preview show last night. We talked a lot about this slate here. Some big names obviously not in, but some pretty fun matchups overall to kind of targets. Got some big point spreads here today. Chalk is kind of what we expected it to be. How are you? Well, we got some thunder. We got some thunder up there, you know. Thunder chalk's there.
Thunder chalk, sure.
Well, we expected that to be the case, right?
Yeah, sure.
All right. You're always trying to fight with me, says the chat.
Oh well, that guy was.
You're always just disagreeing with me here, Grande. You know?
I mean, the disrespect for people to come into our thing and just start absolutely being normal. Like if you have something that you don't agree with, you're allowed to say it, but don't attack like someone's personal thing that they can't control or like.
I mean,
our arguments.
I can try to change my voice, I guess. You know, like I don't know.
I mean, people just shut up. You know, just shut up. Like you specifically, because your voice is horrible, and also just agree with everything I goddamn say.
I'm just gonna not talk anymore. I'm just gonna let you give takes. I'm just gonna nod my head in agreement, and we won't have a show. We'll just let Grande talk about each player. All right, guys. We do appreciate you all that in the chat here. Doug always popping in, says good afternoon. Vic says let's print some money. Pref, yes, Wendell Carter is going to be easy on the girlfriend's brother.
Ooh, that's a fun one.
You know,
still doesn't matter.
Greg's in here. Howdy, chaps. Wendell Carter going to play the love triangle. So we got a lot of people talking about the Wendell Carter relationship there. Favorite pick for today? I would just put our picks in the bet tracker. The Wendell Carter rebound prop is definitely among my favorites for today. I also went back to the well with the DeJounte Murray assist prop for today. Now that looks like they're going to have fully healthy teams. It's still only 5.5 and it's plus money. So, you know, he had the I think it was 9 or 10 assist chances last week, or potential assists last game, fell a half assist shy. I'll go back to the well there. So
we have 9 picks in the bet tracker between you and I. So there's a lot to pick from in there.
A lot of bets. We'll have the article published here shortly as well. So if you guys want to read the analysis behind the picks, you can get that after the show. But yeah, we have a whole bunch of NBA bets in the bet tracker for those of you who are on Fantasy Alarm members. If you're not yet a Fantasy Alarm member, as I said on the preview show, and I'll say it again here now, is the best time to do so. It is the month of March, which means there's a whole lot of sporting events going on. Not only is NBA and NHL happening right now, where you get all of our DFS and best bets for that, PGA, NASCAR, MMA. It is March Madness, so you'll get all of our college basketball content as well. And, of course, fantasy baseball season is here. Draft guide and cheat sheet, part of that. MLB DFS at the end of the month included. Seasonal fantasy baseball included. All of that for $20 for the first month. FantasyAlarm.com/YouTube. Promo code YT50. You see the trophies right there in the graphic. That's because Fantasy Alarm won the 2025 award for best written content handed out by the Fantasy Sports and Gaming Association. So award-winning written content here over at Fantasy Alarm. You can get it all for $20 for the first month.
Let's ride. And just to the Conscious Machines comment, you took it way too personally on the Ricochet comment. And also, you must have not read the comment this morning that directly attacked John. It had nothing to do with you're allowed to disagree with us. You're allowed to comment. But when you're disrespectful, then there's something that's going to be said about it or addressed.
I also want to say that I wasn't complaining. We're literally just joking about it. So, you know, you're taking it a little bit more serious than
he's been every time he comes in the show. He has been taking it way more literal and serious. So, Conscious Machine, take your own advice, okay, buddy? Thank you for your support and just enjoy the show.
Literally just being sarcastic about the comments. That's all it is. Yeah. I promise you I am not that serious about it. Appreciate you, Justin. Always popping in here as well. Steve Smith. I don't read the comment section. That's cool. You're in the comment section. We have to read the comment section.
Salute to you, sir.
All right. Let's get into this slate here. Cade, Wemby, your top 2 price guys. Maxey up over $10,000 here as well. We're talking about the point guard position. Cade, Maxey, Harden, Brunson, 9K and above. From an ownership perspective today at the point guard position, as I said, there is some value that's obviously getting some love here today. But Maxey also second highest rostered point guard on this slate here today. Are you going Maxey versus San Antonio without Embiid, or are we going back to the Cade Cunningham? Well, $1,000 more expensive, but you're getting some ownership leverage there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky one. Maxey, Stephon Castle is a maniac, right? On both ends, but he is very good defensively. But I talk about it all the time. I think it's hard to play somebody or not play somebody because of an individual matchup. I mean, their minutes might not line up. Their, screens that Andre Drummond set might get a lot of switches. There's a lot of different scenarios to get Stephon Castle off of Maxey, a lot of possessions. And there's a lot of ways that Tyrese Maxey can get to and surpass value. One of them is that his superpower is that he's back to playing in all these competitive games, just boatloads and boatloads of minutes. And they need to, right? Stretch part of the year, they need to stay out of the play-in or get out of the play-in. It's a very bottlenecked Eastern Conference from 5 to 9. So I'm not fading Maxey, but I understand the logic behind it. Now, it's not just Embiid, it's not just Paul George. Kelly Oubre's out as well today. Yeah. They're down 3 primary starters. So if this game is to stay close, you can figure it out pretty quickly as to why, right? It's Maxey, it's Edgecombe, and I'm sure Grimes will play a lot of minutes as well. So I like Maxey a lot. You can always play Cade Cunningham. There is a pretty significant upside on Cade Cunningham. Pretty good matchup. I'd say, Cleveland is a good defensive team. We haven't really gotten the full scope of how good or bad they are with James Harden. Evan Mobley is going to largely back a lot of what their defense does up. So I like Cade. Definitely interesting GPP leverage. It's just not enough for me. I still lean Maxey, just considering it's not too far apart in terms of ownership.
When it goes down, Harden is under 10%, so no one's really going in that direction there. Same thing with Brunson. Brunson, I think, is even less when it comes to ownership on this slate here. Brunson's checking.
This is not even on the board.
Yeah, he's not even 1%. So, I mean, no one's going Harden or Brunson really here. If you are spending up in the mid-range, Giddey is getting some love. Jalen Suggs also getting some ownership here today. Again, going up against Washington. Tyler Hero, no Norm Powell in that 7K range. Another guy that's around 10% tonight.
Can we just I just want to go back to Harden for a few.
Sure.
I find it really interesting. Obviously we're dealing with an injury. We didn't know how he was going to handle it. 36 minutes in a competitive game. That really hasn't been the case other than one game since he joined Cleveland. This was the second time he's played 36 minutes. He shot the ball really well with a broken finger. He got to the free throw line really well. The assists, the rebounds, very James Harden-esque. I understand it's a tough spot. I was looking at Harden earlier. Dude, without Donovan Mitchell, since he joined the team, he has a 40% assist percentage. And like that is like would lead the league over the course of a year type number. And we know he's going to score. We know he's a good rebounder, and he also has really good hands. I wonder what the hands are going to be with the broken finger, but
Sure.
I do think that there's like legitimate triple double upside in like kind of a like measuring stick game. Once again, they played the other day, and James Harden didn't play, and they went to overtime, right? So I think Harden looks great in tournaments. If you want to talk about tournament leverage, like this is what I would talk about going from like Maxey down to Harden. So I like Harden a lot. You could always play Brunson. I would rather just get $100 to get to Harden, who's sub 10%. But we know there's a scoring ceiling with Brunson. LaMelo, death taxes tournaments, nothing changes there. Maybe if everyone was out, then that would change. But death taxes tournaments for LaMelo. Giddey is interesting because he obviously has an incredibly high ceiling. This is a player earlier in the year that made it to $10,000 at the peak of his powers, and now is basically off the minutes restriction. I mean, Billy Donovan said he was comfortable getting him up to 30 minutes last game and then played him 32, which even signifies, well, maybe we're just fully off the minutes restriction. You would have to assume competitive game for it's whether SGA and Hartenstein are not in. The players like Alex Caruso, Lou Dort, and Cason Wallace are all still in too. And Giddey will see a heavy dose of all three of those guys. So I think he's interesting more from a price perspective than he is a like, this is an elite matchup. It's obviously the opposite of that. It's the worst possible matchup you can have. But the price and the minutes does put Giddey in the limelight for me. Everything else is like tournament stuff only. Quickly tournaments, hero. I mean, it's a good price, but everything else at 7,300 just hasn't been there. And then De'Aaron Fox, we know, has a ceiling, hasn't flashed it, but it's a pretty good spot with all that Philly's missing in this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. And again, there is obviously value at this slate. So, Quentin Grimes is someone that's getting a ton of ownership here today.
Yeah.
Jared McCain, someone we talked about, around 20%. Jaden Hardy last night had some ownership. He's around 15% here tonight. So the mid-range doesn't really get a lot of love when Maxey is getting 25% at 10K. And Suggs himself is around 20% at 6,400, getting that Washington matchup. So, I mean, do you care for any of this other value in this like low 5K tier, or is it just playing Quentin Grimes tonight or playing Jared McCain?
I mean, I do think, the Suggs conversation is interesting. We didn't have it last night with Black probable, and then throughout the day downgraded to questionable. They said he wasn't going to play, and now he's officially out. So like that is interesting. I think the Magic are like very weirdly rostered tonight, and we'll talk about that at multiple other positions too. I am very interested to see why the Magic haven't gotten ownership today, considering the matchup they have and who's out, Franz Wagner and Anthony Black. Yeah. But I think Suggs has a chance to get to 30 minutes tonight, which is all he needs at 6,400. He's a great fantasy player. But other than that, I largely am with the field on that. I don't think there's like a ton of interesting mid-tier stuff. Like the field is playing Dante DiVincenzo. I think that's okay. He has been pretty good, and the minutes have been pretty good lately. But nothing really has changed. His value has always been tied to his 3-point makes and misses, and he's made and taken double digit in 3 straight games, and has made half of them. So, yeah, like if Dante DiVincenzo continues that volume and efficiency, like there's a ceiling, especially at the kind of like lowered price. He's been overpriced basically all year, and I don't know how many times I've played him with a full Minnesota team. Yeah. But yes, I do think Quentin Grimes looks pretty good. Now, like, to be fair, right? Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe are still available. So, like, Quentin Grimes is definitively number 3 in the pecking order. And his, whether or not he had that breakout at the end of last year, we see what happens when they are healthier. He doesn't do a whole lot. He is kind of a backseat kind of guy, but he is going to have a bigger role tonight just naturally given 3 starters and are out and 3 guys that play mid to high 30s minutes are all out. So yeah, I think Quentin Grimes looks really good at 4,300. I told you I didn't want to talk Washington yesterday. I still prefer not to talk most things Washington. We're going to have to talk more Washington at some point. Like, I think Jaden Hardy is fine. The problem is, at least yesterday he was sub 4K. Today he's 4,200 because the algorithm always, boosts up the second day of a back-to-back pricing for whatever reason. Why do I need to waste my time on Jaden Hardy, hopefully getting 22 minutes when Quentin Grimes I could basically pencil in for 35 tonight, right? And I all that to say, I also understand Washington is more shorthanded today, right? No Keyshawn, George, Vucevic is out again, Gill's out again, and no Watkins. So they're more shorthanded than they were. They are, they do get Leaky Black back today, and that's fixes their rotation a little bit. So Hardy's minutes should be fine. They only have 9 players, but dude, Washington is just such a headache. I guess Hardy's in play, but I prefer Grimes at the price. I'd much rather just get to Quentin Grimes.
Right. Anything else here at point guard?
Anything else at point guard? Let's take a look here. Dylan Harper's fine in tournaments. We didn't really talk Trey Jones. I think he has a really high ceiling if he's in the starting lineup again, even though it's OKC. Sharif Cooper is another wizard that I basically look at it with Jaden Hardy. I might just play Sharif Cooper. If I'm looking at Washington being man, I'm going to hop on chalk, and this depends on where Jaden Hardy's ownership ends up. He is point guard, shooting guard to Sharif Cooper's point guard only. If Jaden Hardy's ownership balloons any higher, I would probably just rather play Sharif Cooper for lower ownership. I don't view them very differently.
Okay. Going on over then to shooting guard position, Anthony Edwards, $9,500. We talked about the price tag on Brandon Ingram and at $8,700 there. From an ownership perspective, Edwards is still getting over 20%. He kind of leads the way of the top group, and then it just goes down more into value. And the Philly play is there with Edgecombe.
Yeah, I think Ant is always playable in tournaments. You don't get many superstars that play more minutes than Anthony Edwards, which obviously with his ability plus minutes are, that is good in itself and an elite upside type deal. I am not playing Brandon Ingram at 8,700, but John, I am back.
Here we go.
Let me explain why I'm one of the best tournament plays of the day, if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Without Franz Wagner and Anthony Black, I think, dude, and we just had the comment from DFS Chef, and we talk about this all the time, and thank you for your comment. And, if it is a massive spread. Washington is shorthanded. They are playing on the second leg of a back-to-back, and I understand all of it. And the blowout is possible. We said that with Houston last night, and Houston had to play their guys full complement of minutes, right? That, it happens. The NBA is a strange place, and that's not always as cut and dry. Vegas sets a line, and it's possible it's met, but Desmond Bane has spent all day basically getting no ownership. It's crept up a little bit. It's finally in the teens, 14%. when you remove Franz Wagner and Anthony Black from the floor, Desmond Bane 6% usage bump. Desmond Bane 29.6% usage. That would be first in usage bump, second on the team, just slightly behind Paolo, and 1.2 fantasy points per minute, also second on the team, behind Mo Wagner, who's only going to play 12 minutes tonight, right? So you're just looking at a guy in Desmond Bane. His assist percentage is way up. His rebound percentage goes up. His usage goes way up. They put the ball in Orlando. Orlando puts the ball in Desmond Bane's hand a lot when there's no Anthony Black and Franz Wagner on the floor, and he has responded in spade. We went into last night's slate just like because it's a first look and we don't necessarily get into the numbers. The thing that I looked at today, I came away being I think Desmond Bane's the best play on the Magic today, significantly higher than Paolo. And full circle to DFS Chef's comment, if this game blows out, Desmond Bane has the easier path to hit and exceed value than Paolo, who's $9,400, right? Sure. So I think Bane, shooting guard, small forward, is being incredibly undervalued today. One of my favorite tournament plays of the day. And Charlie Carter just brought up the Rockets' struggle. I mean, it's not like the Magic are a very good team or a high-octane offense. I mean, they struggle in the half court. They play slow. That's never a good recipe to blow teams out. So, yeah, I think Bane looks great at 7,600. I think this is one of those ceiling type performances.
I agree. Again, Washington doesn't play any defense. So, none. I mean, even if their offense is able to maybe hit some shots on the night, there's still a good chance that we're going to get a lot of points scored out of that Orlando team. What about the rest of that group? I mean, obviously you're big on Bane at 76, but there's talked Hero a little bit at shooting guard. There's Castle, Kneppel, Edgecombe is getting some ownership there at $6,600. Hart and Brandon Williams round out the 6K tier.
Yeah, I think there's largely just tournament stuff here. VJ feels the safest of the group. Hero is whatever to me. If you play Tyler Hero, he has a high scoring ceiling, but just hasn't been great peripherally. Stephon Castle has just a massive ceiling. I mean, literally 40, 12, and 12 in a game in the month of February. So, if you have that ceiling, you're in tournament range. Knippel, another guy who just has a massive ceiling just due to his ability to score and make threes, especially on DraftKings. And then VJ has just been in a really good stretch, has the minute superpower like Maxey, like Edwards, where he just doesn't come off the floor. And that's not going to change. They need to win games. He is already playing a bunch, and now they're more shorthanded. I mean, we had a question about campaign. That just shows you where Philly is right now in terms of depth and what they're missing. That they're going to either look at it hey, Tyrese, do you have 45? Hey, VJ, do you have 43 in you? Because if not, we're going to have to play that guy over there, who he wasn't on a roster for most of the year. I mean, so I like Edgecombe the most after Bane in this tier. Not a ton of interest elsewhere. I think Brandon Williams is okay. PJ Washington's back. Najee Marshall and Clay still out. So, I mean, Brandon Williams has a decent ceiling.
Highest roster player here is Cason Wallace from an ownership perspective. Obviously, we talked no SGA. They do have Chet, but as we saw with Wallace earlier this year, and recently, last couple of stretches there without SGA, he was pretty dominant. Now he's got this matchup up against Chicago here today. Are you buying the Cason Wallace chalk?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty up and down season for Cason Wallace in terms of his production, but we say it all the time. It's just he just has more opportunity to do so when all these guys are out. It's not just SGA, it's also AJ Mitchell, it's also Isaiah Hartenstein, it's also Jalen Williams. A lot of OKC playmakers are out, and that has put Cason Wallace at the forefront of our minds. I have no issues getting to Cason Wallace at 56, shooting guard, small forward. Price is adjusting for SGA being back. SGA is out. So right. that's a good thing. And again, like it's not just SGA. They're out on 5 crucial rotation pieces, and Wallace should play a boatload of minutes because of it.
Yep, agreed with you there. Working our way down, probably Larson's 54. You got Merrill and Christie here. Sexton, you have your Memphis guards. Anything stand out to you from a value perspective?
Yeah, I mean Larson's going to play a lot of minutes. I don't like the price necessarily, but he has played high 30s. Sam Merrill, not going to ever play him at 5,400. Same thing with Max Christie, just garbage pricing on both those players.
Wendell Carter Jr. just downgraded to questionable.
He's getting the call. He's getting the call from his lady. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. That's literally the call. I mean, it's just what it is.
That's going to make center a little interesting there.
Yeah. Sexton's it's just impossible to trust because we don't know what Chicago's going to do. Nothing else in this 5K range. I mean, Isaiah Joe looks pretty good. I don't think Isaiah Joe starts, but I think he looks okay at 46.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I forgot to answer Anthony's. But good thing Javon Carter's questionable here. He's asked like 3 times. I mean, he's probably gonna play. He played 30, 22. Like he's played a pretty sizable role since signing in Orlando. So it's fine if you end up on Javon Carter.
Okay. Oh yeah, a lot of these other guys kind of hit on. Dylan Harper's over 10%. Lou Dort over 10% are 2 guys we haven't touched on yet that are getting some ownership.
Yeah, I mentioned Harper at point guard. He's fine. No objection. We didn't really talk McCain. I think he's another one that could be a scoring punch for them off the bench. We've seen like the SGA while SGA was in, how viable AJ Mitchell was. So even if Cason Wallace is doing a lot of the ball handling, that they are comfortable using like someone such as a Jared McCain as like a secondary creator. So I wouldn't mind getting there. Like, to Anthony's point, right? It's like he's asking about Javon Carter, and I don't think 40 minutes is possible. I do think like what he did yesterday was like, or the other day, 30 is possible. I would probably rather play Jared McCain than Javon Carter at the same price. Same eligibility, same price tag, similar like range of minutes. I would rather play McCain than Carter. That would be how I look at it.
All right. Going on over to small forward. Up at the top here, MPJ's $8,400. Desmond Bane, as you've already highlighted, does he get even a further bump if Wendell Carter Jr. sits? How does
Dude, the bump is going. I'm so mad that the steam is on Desmond Bane because he was like 10% owned until like 4:00, and then since then it's just going upwards.
Everybody realized that he's a good player.
It's like, oh wait, he has like really good numbers. I see all the comments in the chat. We'll get to center in the front court stuff.
Yeah.
Just worth mentioning for Orlando here, like before we get there, Mo Wagner they have been very reluctant coming off the torn ACL to extend him. And we have seen this in the past. Even though Goga's been straight DMPing for much of the year, or much of like the last month, Goga is typically the guy they just start, right? That has typically been the thing. I know Jonathan Isaac has been the guy that has been the backup center of late, but it is just worth mentioning. I don't know what Mo Wagner's minutes would look like even if Wendell's ultimately ruled out.
We did just get the official Cooper flag rule out, something we were obviously anticipating. So that's happening there. We'll know the Orlando stuff though, because I mean it's a 7:00 game, so we'll have those answers. Again, Brandon Miller, $7,500. That dude's been absolutely cooking lately here. You got RJ Barrett, kind of your top group there.
I see through. I agree. If Carter gets 30 minutes, he doesn't score 2 again. But I also just think Jared McCain's a better scorer than him overall at the same price. But Javon Carter's lower owned, so if you want to play that game, you could do that. I think it's Bain and Miller pretty much. We talk about Michael Porter all the time. This is a massive, massive, massive pace up spot. So if you want to play that game where Porter's in a massive pace up spot, the shot's starting to fall again. You can definitely they play him still in competitive games. They play him mid-30s minutes. So I definitely think Porter's good in tournaments. I definitely prefer Bain and Miller in the mid tier.
Okay. Josh Hart, Jaden McDaniels, Mikal Bridges finish out the 6K range. You have Jaquez, Tyson, and Vassell sort of in that top 5K tier.
Yeah, and then you cut it off right at the Preffy 1v1 that we'll talk about in a second. So it's good hosting by you.
I do this for a living.
I don't have a lot of good to say there. I'm sure they're all nice individuals, and they can be good at basketball at times. I don't think I've clicked on a single one of their names in DFS today.
Well, let's get to the Preffy question. We have Riley versus Wallace. They're right there, $5,600 each.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I would go Kaysen, but I'm not shying away from Will Riley after a bad game. He just missed all of his shots. He just simply missed shots yesterday. He played 33 minutes. They're more shorthanded today than they were yesterday with Keyshawn and Jameer Watkins being out. So I am definitely in on Will Riley. The answer to the question for me is still Kaysen Wallace, though.
Okay. Honestly, find a way probably to get to them both, I guess would probably.
Yeah, I mean, you can because their eligibility is so good. I mean, Kaysen has the shooting guard, small forward. Riley has a small forward, power forward. It's not. There's no conflicting you can literally play them both. I mean, this is just a 1-for-1 last piece in clearly. Do I want to play Riley or Wallace to round up my lineup? I lean Wallace in that case, but I do think Riley's firmly in play.
Agreed. Kind of hit on something. We did have obviously the commenter we were joking about earlier mention Asar Thompson. We didn't really talk much Detroit outside of Caden Duran on the preview show. Do you have any interest here in Thompson at 55?
He has a really high ceiling, and then he gets benched. I mean, he had 21 minutes last against Orlando, and
had 37 fantasy points managed, 5 stocks in that.
Yeah, game. He has a very high ceiling. He also could get benched. He also is going to be guarding James Harden tonight and could get in foul. I mean, there's a lot of different outcomes for Asar Thompson. That's the Asar Thompson that we've grown to know and love, right? He is a really high ceiling. He gets in foul trouble. He gets benched. He might play 35 minutes. There's wide range of outcome that I'd only play in tournaments.
Agreed with you there. From an ownership perspective, Tristan Da Silva was getting ownership. Maybe that even helps him a little bit without having Wendell Carter in there. I mean, I don't know what that rotation is. Obviously, there's no Anthony Black, so
possibly no Wendell Carter.
Yeah, possibly no Wendell Carter, no Anthony Black. That obviously helps him. Up over 20% at $4,400. Alex Caruso at 39, nearly 20% there. Leonard Miller is around 10%. Again, those are some value plays. Not much else in this mid range though.
Yeah, I like TDS even if Carter were to play. I was kind of just in on him regardless. The minutes have been amazing if there's someone out or 2 people out, like Franz being out plus somebody, Da Silva just enters and plays a boatload of minutes, and I don't see why that wouldn't be the case tonight. He's just going to play a boatload. Orlando, another team, kind of shrinking their rotation. A lot of the fringe guys that were in the rotation, Penda, Jace Richardson, they're not really playing. Penda's just straight up DMPing. And we're having Javon Carter questions, right? About 30 minutes. So that just goes to show you the state of the after the 5. So, and Da Silva's in that 5 with Anthony Black out, kind of just clicking and moving on, especially at 4,400 in the matchup he's in. I think that's a great play. The ownership will only go up if Wendell Carter is out. I don't think it doesn't necessarily help or not. I think he's just a good play. Keanu Ellis is interesting if Dean Wade ends up sitting. Leonard Miller is and has kind of been a really good fantasy player anytime he's ever been extended. That dates back to like his Minnesota times. And he's been that way with Chicago now. Like back-to-back games, he's been basically a fantasy point per minute. $4,200. He'll play in like any scenario. I think someone to keep an eye out for, and it's something to kind of address the 100 Julian Reese comments that we've had already. Because we've had 100 Julian Reese comments. It's Leaky Black season, John. Leaky Black is available for Washington tonight. He's one of 9 players. And before the show, I just went to look up how tall Leaky Black was because I was just curious, like, what they're going to do. Julian Reese fouled out in his 28 minutes yesterday. Anthony Gill and Vukcevic are both out again. And like they're gonna play Riley, obviously, who's tall. And so I was just like looking. I think Leaky Black has like a pretty sizable role. He played 30 minutes in his only game he's played this year. He's a objectively bad fantasy player.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like if that you end up on Leaky Black, it's that is not the best thing ever. But it does kind of correlate to Julian Reese. I think both of them end up playing a bunch if Julian Reese doesn't foul out, but Leaky Black being available could definitely hurt. He's a pretty active rebounder when he's out there, and that's what Julian Reese does as well. Just wanted to comment on another like big man for Washington being available to all the Julian Reese comments. Now, I'm not necessarily saying anything like bad. Julian Reese is a min salary 3K likely starting center. So there's that as well. But yeah, I think Leaky Black is another one just to throw out there.
We did get some Mavs news here. Washington in, Martin in, Klay Thompson is out for tonight for Dallas. I don't know if that changes anything for you here.
No, we knew all that.
I assumed, just throwing it out there. Anything else at small forward?
No, let's go to power forward.
Power forward we go then. Banchero, $9,400. Scotty Barnes, $9K. Chet Holmgren, $85. Evan Mobley, $82. You do have a pick in the bet tracker on Chet here tonight going up against the Bulls, but is he your favorite of that top 4 group?
No, Paolo would be if I'm not getting to Paolo or if I'm like overdoing it on Orlando, I think Chet is probably the next guy in the top 4. I think Scotty is pretty hard to get to. We know he has a high ceiling, but he's pretty hard to get to. Evan Mobley, it's good to see that he could play 37 minutes. That was the overtime game. Yeah. But then he plays not on a back-to-back, and he plays 27 minutes the next game in a competitive environment. So I really don't know unless Kenny Atkinson comes out and is like, Evan Mobley's off his minutes restriction. If like 8,200, I mean, sure, he had 37 minutes, had a ceiling, all that good stuff. But like, I know there's no minutes restriction on Paolo. I know there's no minutes restriction on Holmgren. So I would lean those two over Mobley and Barnes for sure.
Yeah. Next tier down, where are you looking to go?
Buzelis is always appealing because Chicago's playing a shorter rotation and has been playing better than he probably has all year, especially scoring the basketball. 3 straight games of 20 plus, 3 straight games of 7 rebounds, has had blocks or steals in each of those games. So I'm okay with Buzelis. We had an OG Anunoby comment earlier. Always in play in tournaments because he has a really high ceiling.
Knock down a bunch of threes to or revenge, maybe. I know you're a big fan of the narrative.
Yeah,
there.
I just I don't see why like he would be prioritized necessarily. It's not a good spot. He's been large. I mean, he's always at like the third option. He plays with Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, who both have 25% usage rate. So not a priority, but is it a GPP play? PJ Washington, because they're so depleted, but coming off, an ankle injury. I assume he's not going to be limited at all, but this is definitely a boat race spot just with Charlotte's propensity to boat race bad teams. They boat race every bad team they play. But PJ is a high ceiling player. Can't play Gigi if Memphis gets anyone back. Miles Bridges, another like GPP Charlotte guy, went on record, went on record, and said that he's willing to just take the back seat because they have 3 capable scorers. He was like, I don't need to shoot, which is not necessarily.
Here's the big one. Anthony Edwards now questionable for tonight, injury maintenance.
Dude, oh, he's going to play through. I mean, he plays through every injury maintenance tag. It's so annoying. Dude, Anthony Edwards plays through more questionable tags than anybody else in the NBA. He plays through everything.
Dean Wade out tonight.
Okay. Keon. It helps Keon for sure in the value tier. The Anthony Edwards one is obviously a massive deal.
Randall's right here at $7,900.
Randall is right here at $79. In the past, right, this would be easy, and we would say it would be Bones. But Ayo Dosunmu is here now, and I don't think it's as simple as like Bones because Ayo has kind of played more than Bones since his addition. Bones has had still a role, but I would assume Dosunmu would be the 5th starter. Yeah, I mean that's interesting because it's a great spot and it's an 8 p.m. game, so that would be good. To know ahead of time. But, that is also a theory, a type of like, if we don't get that news by 7 p.m., you kind of have to make the decision because you have really good, like, especially Orlando, you have a really good spot at 7 p.m. Do you want to load up on a game, potentially lose out on a bunch of 8 p.m. stuff? That's definitely intriguing.
Yeah.
Randall would become top of the front of the line, but so in Minnesota in general, DiVincenzo 55 would look great. Randall would look great. We know Naz Reid always gets a lot of ownership. Jaden, we didn't even talk about Jaden, but he would get. I mean, Minnesota would become infinitely more appealing. Like 6 guys you'd probably get to. But if Ant's in, I'm not probably playing Randall at 79. And then the rest of that like tier we talked about in 6K, just not a lot of appeal to it.
Obviously, there's Riley, who we talked about at small forward. Middleton's at 54. Toby Harris, $5,300. You have your Bulls plays here. What are we looking at as we get to the value here?
Yeah, I mean Nas, TBD. The Ant News. Riley we talked about looks good. I think Middleton is okay. He's gonna play 30 minutes or so if if this game is competitive. They showed that they were playing Chris Middleton 30 minutes in competitive games. So I think Middleton looks okay. Not a lot of care to play Tobias in this spot, but he is fine. The minutes should be fine. Champagny played a whole bunch of minutes the other day. I wish he was cheaper. I don't know why they raised his price to this, like, despite like being in and out of the rotation, but they are shorthanded. Jalen Williams being the most popular play of the day, or one of them, is very interesting. I think he looks good. I don't know what they're going to do with their starting lineup. I think the assumption is they just start him and Chet because that's what they do when Hartenstein's available. I also don't know if that's like concrete, right? The Bulls aren't playing double big. They're playing Buzelis at the 4. So could you just do like Yabusele, or could you like match up with Chet and then you play like Aaron Wiggins as your 5th starter, or Isaiah Joe is your 5th starter? I think that's also a possibility, especially if you were to use like Lou Dort on Buzelis anyway. I think there's multiple ways they can go. I think Big J probably plays mid to high 20s minutes and is a pretty decent fantasy player. But I also understand like the fade. If you're talking about if he doesn't start and his ownership kind of sticks where it is,
Yeah.
like I would understand. If he starts, it's very safe and you click it and you kind of move on because he's good at fantasy. So
yeah. I mean, he's the second highest guy. I said it's Paolo at number 1. It's Jalen Williams number 2. Justin Champagne's number 3. Which again, it's a Wizards matchup there, a little shorthanded. We've seen the Champagne brothers have some big games at times. Kendrick Williams is up over 10% here as well. Anything else that you'd be looking to play? Like we've talked a little bit, Isaiah Stewart's back. Cleveland's going to play double big. We've seen him have success in short minutes. Maybe there's a path for him tonight. We just got Harrison Barnes downgraded to questionable. I don't know if that impacts the Spurs rotational. Obviously, the other Champagny is there at 46 as well. We get the Memphis front court. De Silva's here. I mean, not a terrible value range.
I think Stewart's too expensive for me with a largely healthy team. I think the Champagnes, mentioned Justin. Julian is okay. I mean, starting over Barnes, this should help his minutes if Barnes is ultimately ruled out. I think, though, Harrison Barnes has been on like some Iron Man streak. I think he played all 82 last year, maybe the year before too. I don't know. I know Harrison Barnes didn't miss a game last year. I don't know if he's missed a game this year.
Wendell Carter just officially out for tonight.
Boy, I'm telling you, I think they start Goga. I think they start Goga. He's played like 6 minutes since the All-Star break. I think Goga starts. But we'll see. They could also start Jonathan Isaac, and oh boy, if that is the case. You could play De Silva here. I think there's a chance, we never know what OKC's going to do. Wiggins could be a guy that they start. They could start Kenrich, as you mentioned, getting some ownership. All these are kind of like if they start type of plays.
Okay. Let's go on over to center.
Barlow too in that they're shorthanded and they've been giving Barlow a lot of minutes to begin with.
Obviously, the Wendell Carter news is going to impact the center ownership. So right now, Julian Reese is 45%. We saw that last night. Didn't work, but 45% min price center. You have Jalen Williams we talked about 25%, so value wise is there, but Wemby's 16%, Duran 16% here. I am curious just what ends up happening here with the Orlando center position once we get some finalized, maybe a starter announcement, because all the backup centers are 34, 32, and 3K. So
yes.
I would imagine we would probably rather play one of those guys than Julian Reese, but you tell me.
We would. I'm not scared to play a min salary Julian Reese if he starts again, just because he had a bad game. It doesn't matter. He's min salary 3K center. But I would rather play Goga Batadze, or I don't know about Isaac because I'm very unsure he would be extended, very unsure, because we know what Jonathan Isaac has been and continues to be, and the reluctance to extend him, obviously for a reason. So he would probably be last amongst the centers I would have interest in Orlando. Probably less than even Julian Reese. I'd rather play Julian Reese than Jonathan Isaac. The Wagner one and Goga are obviously intriguing, and just to see what the ownership ends up at. Yeah. Because if we end up getting a Goga Batadze start, right? Or even if it's like Mo Wagner starting or whatever the case is, it will be fascinating to see where Wemby's ownership ends up, because we expect Reese to start at center, 3K. You possibly could have Goga 3K starting center. So you could possibly have 2 3K min salary centers in the 7 p.m. window starting.
Yep.
that would probably decimate Victor Wembanyama's ownership. And obviously,
double punt the center position.
I mean, it just makes life so much easier, right? Then how much ownership go like Maxey?
You just go right to Cade or Maxey, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Maxey's ownership is already high. Cade's ownership is rising. Paolo's ownership is going up.
Yeah.
Ant's ownership, even though questionable, 21 and like you have right now 1, 2, 3. You have 4 guys, $9K, $9,400 getting at least 20% ownership. You could probably play 3 of them if you're just punting 2 3K centers that are starting today, right? Yeah. So ultimately, I think the thing that is going to be interesting to see where the Wemby ownership lands, because if it lands and it's like really just kind of like, oh wait, what is Victor's ownership? Then it becomes very appealing, because Philly's just going to naturally have problems with him without Embiid and Drummond and Bona and Dominic Barlow in the front court.
Trying to see if we're getting any updates here on who may or may not start with.
I mean,
with Carter now out.
It has for a long time. It has been Goga, right? And we've seen this in years past when Goga's been straight DMPing, he has ended up starting, right? So,
9 available players tonight for the Wizards as well.
Yeah, yeah, we've talked about that on the show.
Okay, just reading the latest tweets.
Yeah, they have 9. Orlando has a bunch of available guys, but they have 3 primary guys out against the like Orlando just keeps getting better. Their ownership's only going to go up from here, but they look fantastic. The center position is a crap show, John, as they would say, the PG, because I would love to play Wemby. Bam looks really good at the top. Duren has a massive ceiling. Jared Allen has a big-time ceiling with James Harden. Rudy Gobert should grab 40 rebounds tonight. Musa, no one allows more paint points than Dallas. Musa's coming off back-to-back 3 straight monster games from a fantasy perspective. Yep. And then
the minutes are clutch for him, right? If he's just play 30 minutes, you can kind of count that.
But then there's just endless value at the position. Julian Reese and whatever Orlando's going to do specifically. You have Philly stuff that you can get to as well. I mean, it's a wide net. Jakob Poeltl, I saw a Jakob Poeltl question earlier. Jakob Poeltl's been great at this.
He's got a Poeltl prop in there, 9.5 points tonight. Just take the over.
Yeah, I almost bet his rebounds, but he was really lucky on his rebounds the other day. So I was like, it doesn't look great. So yeah, I mean, it's just a very muddy position that I'm fascinated to see where the ownership ends up once we get more official news on who's starting for Orlando.
Sure. All right, let's get to some. Let's see, any other comments here? Obscene Diabati projecting well. We gave our thoughts there for DFS Chef. Anything we're missing with the questions, or can we get into some line?
Define Artist asked about Omax.
Okay.
Hard to talk about Memphis with like Aldama and them questionable. This is the first time they've been questionable. It's typically they've just been listed out. So if like Santi plays, I basically have no interest.
Doug asking about Nolan Traore here.
I just not with like McCain and some Washington stuff and Quentin Grimes available.
Okay.
Anthony asked a question a couple times. He asked Paolo, Cade, Maxey, or Wemby. He asked that a lot. He asked that a couple times actually.
Yeah.
Honestly, I lean boy, I lean Paolo a little bit. That would probably be my answer, but Maxey close second.
Sure. All right. Let's get into a lineup, and then we'll see. You can't really build anything. I kind of agree with you, right? It's hard to build without the full scope of what center is going to look like here. But
let's get Warren's "Hear Me Out" play of the day.
Grant Nelson.
I mean, Grant Nelson is interesting. He played a lot. But like Claxton being available, he's played a lot in blowouts. Like you need this game to blow out. Like he should be like in the rotation, but with Claxton available, I'm not overly confident there.
Yeah. All right. So what are we gonna do here? You said that Bane was like your number one play of the day.
Yeah, I think Bane and De Silva are just easy to get to.
And then Maxey. You like Maxey over as your guy here?
I mean, now.
Where are you spending up, I guess is my question.
I mean, I don't think we have to, but like if I'm spending up, I do think Wemby, the tournament appeal with the ownership, that's clearly going to tank, right? Like because all the ownership right now is not reflecting anything Orlando center room. So like Goga, like let's plug Goga in, right? And if Goga,
I was gonna say, do you want to plug just Wagner because he's the most expensive, and then we just move it around depending on who the actual?
Yeah, or we save 200. It doesn't matter. I don't care which.
We might need the $200. Just
400, I guess. Right? Yeah, $400, I guess.
If we need it, we'll go down, but we could just plug Wagner in for now, and then when whoever gets announced as a starter. I guess what if Isaac starts, would he be the only one you wouldn't want to play? Is that
be the only one? That's exactly what I said.
Okay. All right. Well, we almost have the core built here: Bane, De Silva, Wagner, or whatever starts for Orlando. So three Magic and Wemby. Where do we go next?
3 Magic and Wemby.
Four magical
players in this lineup.
If Ant got ruled out, you'd play Randall or something like that, or
this is what we were talking about earlier. If you go all in on 7 p.m. and then Ant is ruled out, well then I don't have means to get to 8 p.m. Now I do think that there's plenty of methods. OKC is a team that plays at 8. You just play OKC guys like Case and Wallace is an easy plug. I wouldn't play Randall as a core play unless.
Well, I'm just saying if you want to build with maybe the Ant.
Yeah, but you don't want to build that way. You want to build as if Ant's in and then have the lineup pivot.
Right, but you got to be able to have a forward spot available to get Randall in there is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but yes, but of course, but like building with Randall and then having to scramble is.
So you'd rather build with Chet then and pivot down, something like that?
Not necessarily. We don't even have to necessarily play anyone at power forward in this lineup. I like Quentin Grimes or Edgecombe probably make the most sense. Jared McCain, something like that.
Sure. Move Wallace to forward, he says. Yeah, I could do that. Move De Silva to power forward, but then you're Wallace to forward.
No, you could just keep it here. You could just keep this and then I like this.
But I'm just saying if you're trying to leave a forward spot available, like you're gonna have to put someone in the 8 o'clock window in a forward or power forward spot in order to get Randall in your lineup. So to make the pivots work.
Yeah.
Grimes, Bane, De Silva, Wagner, or whoever starts for Orlando there. Case and Wallace, Victor Wembanyama is our play here today. $7,000 remaining. A lot of injury news to come. Check the Discord. Keith will have you guys updated. We'll have the preview show later tonight for the Wednesday slate. We'll see you then.